What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we finally have the Ultra League and Master League Battle of Spice. Apologies that this one took so long to release, but I was waiting on a few people to give me access to their submissions up until a couple of days ago. But anyways, we've got 10 battles in the Ultra League and then only 3 for the Master League, which is why I've grouped them together in this same video. And for anyone unfamiliar with this series, the Battle of Spice is a competition that I host every season where the aim is to win in the Go Battle League with the spiciest and most unique team you can possibly put together. Now, before we get into the question of the day, I want to give a quick shout out to the Zippiest for the gifted memberships in my recent live stream. As always, the support is much appreciated. With that being said, let's get into the question of the day. Overall, how would you rate your enjoyment of this season of the Go Battle League on a scale of 1 to 10, and how does it compare to recent seasons? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, heading into the first battle, we've got a trio of trios here, leading with a Alolan Doug trio into Florages. So, of course, Steel type up against a Fairy type, however, they do have access to Chilling Water. And Doug trio, even at level 50, doesn't reach 2,200 CP, so definitely going to need to shield here. This is a Glassy Pokemon, even in the Great League, but its stats are just not going to be able to compete here. So going to double shield the Chilling Waters, potentially maybe try and look to catch the next one onto our Wug trio. But anyways, firing off the next Mud Bomb, and we are going to do exactly that. The opponent actually holding onto the energy. Smart play on the opponent's end there, and unfortunately they are going to hard punish us with a Belly Bolt. Parabolic Charge gets the KO there, but now we can actually tank a charge move and then farm up to back-to-back Mud Bombs. So of course, Parabolic Charge is double resisted. We don't tank charge moves very well, but we do tank that. And here, we're going to go for the Mud Bomb, get the KO. If they come back in with the Florges, we've got a second Mud Bomb already loaded. Mud Bomb no longer debuffed, it gets the KO, and their final Pokemon is going to be a Zygarde. So honestly, one of the bulkiest, strongest meta teams from the opponent, but they're about to get beat by this trio of trios as we come in with the Dodrio. Gonna, of course, have no shields, but they can only go for Crunch here. Earthquake is resisted, probably not on Outrage, and here we full send the Brave Bird, we get the one shot, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we've got a triple Shadow Fighting team here, but we are met with a bit of a core breaker to the team. Now, our Shadow Hitmonchan is actually looking to be on Bullet Punch, which is applying decent fast move pressure. However, unfortunately, it's still not the best move. It's non-stab for us, so we are going to go for a Fire Punch. We throw on CMP. Luckily for us, we barely hang on to that Leaf Blade, and we do grab a shield back. And now, of course, Shadow Sneasler can actually resist the charge move, so not the worst matchup for us. However, this Pokemon is very glassy, so Leaf Blade does big damage there. Can we commit to the farm down? Yes, we're able to do so, and we come out with a ton of energy. The opponent comes in with a second Grass and Poison type Pokemon. What on earth is this team here? But either way, gonna fire off back-to-back X-Scissors. X-Scissor number 2 grabs the final shield, and we can reach yet another X-Scissor before the opponent farms us down. X-Scissor gets the KO. Their final Pokemon gonna be Greninja, which Shadow Poliwrath completely walls. The opponent just concedes the match. Into next battle, we're going to see Beware with a triple normal bear theme team here. We are going to see a safe swap into Sylveon, so we're swapping into our Ursaring. You can see we actually got a very spicy charge move set here of Play Rough and Return. We're going to go for Play Rough. Honestly, we're only reaching one charge move, so might as well just full stand the Return there, as there is stab damage. It would hit a lot harder. But anyways, we do grab a shield, but we're in a bit of an awkward situation. We're going to come in with our Shadow Ursaluna here. Going to shield the first charge move as they fire off a Psyshock, and we are gonna not throw straight away, and as a result, they get to a second Psyshock, getting us very low. At this point, gonna fire off the Swift. Swift gets the KO there. They're gonna come in with an Ampharos, which is fine with us. We are obviously part ground type as well, so we're taking double resisted damage from the fast moves here. We're actually gonna swap out of this matchup, assuming that we can tank a charge move. The opponent is not gonna full send a Focus Blast, which means we can tank the Brutal Swing. Gonna shield the next move, however. The opponent is gonna go for a Thunder Punch this time around, so honestly don't know why they went for Brutal Swing. But either way, we are gonna go for a payback, getting the KO there. Their final Pokemon is for Alligator, and we're going to look to throw on CMP, winning CMP. Superpower does big damage, and of course it drops our attack and our defense, so Hydro Cannon gonna get the KO there, and we are double resisting the Shadow Claw damage, so we can come back in with the Shadow Ursaluna, and a Swift gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we've got a Purified Golem into a Guzzlord. So we are going to stay in this matchup here. Obviously, we do have an Ice-type Pokemon, but we've also got a Grass-type Pokemon. So I guess we just stay in this matchup. We are looking to Full Send and Earthquake. Is this going to get the one-shot here? Earthquake does not KO, unfortunately. However, we should still live another Brutal Swing and potentially go for a Mudslap farm down. But actually, instead, we're just going to come in, snipe with the Titan, get that Powder Snow farm down. The opponent's going to come in with a Florges, but we've actually got access to Heavy Slam here. Heavy Slam, super effective. It honestly does kind of underwhelming damage there, but we do land it. It is something. At this point, we're going to no-shield this as they fire off a Trailblaze, boosting up their attack stat. We then over-farm here, which means they do reach yet another charge move. This time going for Disarming Voice there. Here, we can go for the Avalanche. We are, I believe, very close to back-to-back charge moves. So going to fire off the next one straight away here. That might have even been a CMP tie, but Avalanche gets the KO. Their final Pokemon, going to be a Swampert. We can come in with the Arboliva, and the opponent, realizing there's nothing they can do there, even if they've got Sludge. They're getting fast. We farm down and we're able to take that game. But into the next battle, we've got a triple crustacean theme team here and a very, very awkward lead matchup for us. Annihilate is going to, of course, double resist the bug typing, gonna resist the Rock Wrecker as well. We can't swap into Crawdont. And then Kingler just isn't a very good Pokemon either. So yeah, they have now boosted. They've now obviously shielded our Rock Wrecker. We are really going to struggle to take this thing out. And they are now double boosted, of course, with a second Rage Fist. Crap Hammer going to be double shielded by the opponents. Oh my goodness. At this point, I guess we have to just let this move go through here. Rage Fist gets the KO. We're forced to come in with the Crawdont. And we can just barely reach a Night Slash, taking huge damage in the process. It doesn't even KO. But we do get the snipe with the Fury Cutter damage. They're now going to come in with a Gengar, and they are not going to throw straight away, so we can go straight for Rock Wrecker. Rock Wrecker easily gets the one shot, and their final Pokemon going to be a Snarl Incineroar. That is huge for us. We've still got a shield. Looks like we end up losing CMP, but it doesn't matter. Of course, we can now full send the Rock Wrecker. This is super effective. It easily takes out Incineroar, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got a absolutely massive dragon theme team here with XXL Regidrago and XXL Guzzlord, and then of course the biggest Pokemon in the entire game at the moment, Eternatus. So here we're going to see a Mewtwo in the lead, of course. Guzzlord would be very good here, but Eternatus is going to take super effective damage. So we swap out, we try to catch a charge move, doesn't work out for us. The opponent also going to bank a lot of energy there. So we're going to see a Torterra coming in. Gonna no shield as they go for a Frenzy Plant. I believe this battle might be sped up slightly more than 2 times speed here, as it is very rapid. But anyways, that was not my fault here. We are gonna go for a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw gonna be no shielded, and now we come in with the Eternatus. The opponent is gonna full send the Stone Edge there, but of course Mewtwo has a lot of energy, so we kind of needed to no shield as they go for Side Strike number 1. They're already at a second charge move here, and we're not gonna have to swap out of this matchup, so we do get the full farm down. But can we actually tank a single fast move? No, unfortunately, coming out with 100 energy, but we do make a really nice catch there, catching Leaf Blade onto Guzzlord, and that will allow us to reach a last second Dragon Energy. Dragon Energy gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. So heading into the next battle, and we already had a triple normal bear team, but we're taking it to another level this time around with a Great League Teddy Ursa just to fill out the theme team here. The opponent's going to swap into Skeledirge, and that's actually ideal for us. Honestly, I don't know why they even bothered swapping out of that matchup. Like, what could we have possibly done there? I guess we could have been running Play Rough up against the Guzzlord, but even then, it's from a Great League Pokemon, and it's non-stab. It probably doesn't KO. But anyways, we are going to get a full farm down because we're able to connect with that Crunch. They come back in with the Guzzlord, and we are baiting here. Going straight for Swift. Swift grabs a shield, and now this time we are full sending Close Combat. Are they going to respect it? Close Combat does huge damage. Unfortunately, just barely not able to fully farm them down there, but they have a Talonflame in the back. We're, of course, going to shield here, use our final shield. We should be able to outpace them to back-to-back Swifts now, but the question is, can we deal enough damage? Swift, number 1, actually connects there. This time, I'm going to go for an Ice Punch. Honestly, I don't really know why. It doesn't really make any difference here, as we're only reaching 1 charge move anyways, but we've actually put them into range where we should be able to Shadow Claw farm them down before they even connect with any Incinerates, but actually doesn't matter as we do come out with the Swift loaded. Swift gonna be enough to take out the Talonflame, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we're going to see a shiny Shadow Muck in the lead up against a Skeleturge. We're going to swap into our level 50 Kamala, I believe. Met with a Virizion, which is unfortunate, but I guess we are keeping it away from the Umbreon, which is working out the way we want it to. Here, we're going to go and full send a Play Rough. Play Rough does decent damage there, but of course, Rollout is resisted, so they can just farm us down. We're now going to come back in with the Muck. We are going to no-shield this as they bait with a Leaf Blade. Fine with us, and we do get a full Poison Jab farm down. We then swap out straight away, and they've actually got Giratina in the back. So, Umbreon core breaking their team right now. We can go for Dark Pulse. You can see we actually don't have any coverage on the Umbreon either. I guess not willing to invest in an into an elite charge DM. Now here we actually baited with a foul play, kind of backfires as the opponent does not shield there, but we know, I don't know why we're going for Dark Pulse this time around. This is more energy, and foul play definitely would have KO'd from that range. We then swap out of that matchup. We come in with the Shadow Muck, and Shadow Ball completely one-shots us, but I guess Umbreon should be fine here. At this point, we are going to look to massively overfarm, finally firing off a Dark Pulse here. Dark Pulse is going to grab a shield from the opponent. Hopefully Dark Pulse will be enough damage by the time we reach a third one to get the KO here, and we find out that we didn't need to go for several foul plays instead. But either way, we go for foul play bait. We grab the final shield here. We can now shield this. Do they have back-to-back charge moves? They do not, as we're able to go for a Dark Pulse. Does this KO here? It absolutely does, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we can see Luxray into Belly Bolt. So we are on Snarl, and we've actually got access to Hyper Beam here. So this is going to be very cool if we can see it connect. However, unfortunately, they are, of course, going to go ahead and boost up their defense there. We then actually just swap out completely. We come in with Absol, but we've got Thunder coverage here. The opponent does not respect the damage. We get the one shot. They come back in with a Belly Bolt. Unfortunately, Absol not going to be able to tank a charge move here. So Parabolic Charge does get the KO, but now we can come in with this Wireless and completely wall this Pokemon. However, unfortunately, they do just barely outpace us. And again, going to boost up the defense there. Well, we actually lose CMP with this Wireless. That is crazy. But of course, Wireless barely reaching 2000 CP there, so it does make sense. Going to go for another Dark Pulse here. Dark Pulse is going to be shielded, and now we can come in and full send a Hyper Beam, but of course they are boosted. Hyper Beam does big damage there, but it doesn't get the KO. Now here we're going to shield as they fire off yet another Parabolic Charge. They then swap into Empoleon. That is a crazy swap there. They should have just stayed in. But either way, we are going to shield the Drill Pet. We're going to farm up to back-to-back Wild Charges. Actually, just barely not going to get there. So, Wild Charge gets the KO, but we do get farmed down there. We come back in with this Wireless, but we can Dragon Breath farm them down, and we're able to take that game. Now into the final battle for the Ultra League, I believe, and we've got a triple Shiny Reggie theme team. And I have to say, both Shiny Regirock and Shiny Regice, they don't look great, but in their shadow forms, I don't know why, but they just look so much cleaner here. But anyways, I'm going to go for a Zap Cannon, of course. Registeel could be on Flash Cannon there, but we don't end up grabbing a shield. They now swap into a Dusknoir. I'm going to go for another Zap Cannon there. Zap Cannon grabs a shield, and now we're actually happy to just let this move go through. Dynamic Punch is going to get the KO there. Going to come in with that Shadow Regirock, as it is definitely a lot faster to reach those Stone Edge. Unfortunately, we do end up throwing on CMP, but we're going to shield, and they do once again full send the Dynamic Punch. So here we go. We're going to go for the Stone Edge. Stone Edge is going to be shielded here. Of course, we have zero fast pressure running lock-on on all three Pokemon, but Stone Edge doesn't really put them into farm down range, unfortunately. Are we going to shield here? Nope, we're going to no shield. They go for Dynamic Punch again. We come in with the Regice, and we actually do get the farm down. That is huge for us. We come out with a decent amount of energy, but Regice not exactly fast to get to charge moves. They're going to come in with a Belly Bolt, so going to go straight for the Blizzard here. Blizzard does big damage. The opponent is going to fire off the charge move. Are we going to shield this here? We are not going to shield. It's just a Parabolic Charge. We can tank that, and we can reach another Blizzard. Of course, Blizzard will be enough to get the KO there. They come back in with the Florist, and we, of course, need to shield. The opponent firing off the Chilling Water, debuffing our attack stat. Is Thunder gonna get the KO anymore? Thunder, non-stab. It actually doesn't get the KO, but one lock-on gets that snipe before they can throw the move, and we're able to take that game. Now heading into the Master League, we've got a level 50 Victini in the lead up against a Shadow Ho-Oh. So of course we are resisting the fast move damage, so not too bad for us. This is going to be a Brave Bird, so we're definitely going to shield. Respect the damage there, and they swap into an Origin form Palkia. So we've got back-to-back charge moves here, but I assume we'll throw one charge move and then swap out of this matchup. We come in with the Empoleon. Now we're going to resist everything, but likewise the opponent is going to resist everything aside from a Drill Peck, which is non-stab. But either way, going to go for the Drill Peck here. Drill Peck going to be shielded by the Palkia. This should just be an Aqua Tail, so we're going to no-shield this. An Aqua Tail does get us very low, but the opponent then makes a really nice catch there, catching Drill Peck onto a Dialga. So we swap out straight away back into Victini and going to farm up to back-to-back V-Creates. First V-Creates here is going to be shielded, unfortunately. At this point, we're definitely going to shield as well. We can then farm up to back-to-back charge moves once again. And unfortunately, one V-Create won't quite be enough damage to get the KO here. So we'll have to throw a second one straight away. However, the opponent very likely to swap and make a catch there. So personally, I probably would have gone for Side Shock there, assuming they would try and catch. But either way, that is double assisted. We then actually make a catch of our own, and the opponent full send a Spatial Rend there. That is huge for us. That means they're only going to reach an Aqua Tail before we fully farm them down. Shadow Ampharos needs to sweep this game here. So the opponent fires off the Aqua Tail. They come back in with the Alga. They're in range where a Brutal Swing will get the KO. And now can we get the KO up against the Ho-Oh? We just barely hang on, reaching a Thunder Punch. This is super effective. Thunder Punch does take out the Shadow Ho-Oh, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got Darmanitan into a Zacian. So this is a great lead matchup for us. The opponent is going to swap eventually into a Dragon Tail Palkia. So of course, you don't really see Dragon Tail too often. It's a decent fast move, but Dragon Breath is just strictly better as it is a one-turn fast move. So you've got better chance to time your charge moves. And as well, it does hit breakpoints up against certain Pokemon where you do end up dealing more damage just because it is a one-turn fast move. But anyways, we're going to farm up to back-to-back close combats here. Second one, gonna be no-shielded, dealing big damage. At this point, we're going to come in with the Gengar. The opponent is going to swap back into Zacian. And we're going to farm up to a Focus Blast, but then bait with a Rock Slide. Rock Slide, going to be shielded by the opponent. And the opponent has farmed up to, I believe, back-to-back charge moves here. So we're actually not going to bother shielding. Close combat gets the KO. But they blind throw, and they already knew it was a Gengar. So this is going to be triple resisted. We do tank that, honestly, not as comfortably as I thought we would, but we tank it nonetheless. And they come in with a Kyurem, and we are going straight for Focus Blast. Focus Blast gets the one-shot, and now they come in. We can just safely shield up the charge move. That Shadow Claw damage should register. It takes out the Palkia, and we're able to take that game. Now heading into the final battle of this video, we've got Pangoro in the lead, going to be safe swapping into our Aggron, and we are going to no-shield this. Aqua Tail going to hit for super effective damage. We're now going to full send a Thunder, just guarantee the one-shot, or grab a shield from the opponent. Of course, we still got a very good answer to the Gyarados in the form of our Magnezone. So we're going to take a should advantage, going to wait out our Switch Clock here as the opponent has not swapped out, and now we come in with that Magnezone. They swap into a Ho-Oh, which is still an okay-ish matchup for the Magnezone, but we've actually got Rock Slide coverage on our Pangoro. So the opponent fires off the Brave Bird there. We're now going to look to over-farm. We end up throwing on alignment, which is not very good timing, but Rock Slide grabs a shield, but the opponent then over-farms himself, so now we can go for the Rock Slide again. Rock Slide easily KOs there with a 3-stage debuff. Their final Pokemon is going to be a Florges, but we're going to bank a Rock Slide, swap back into our Magnezone, and you can see we've got Flash Cannon and Zap Cannon as our 2 charge attacks, so that is very cool to see. Gonna shield up the Aqua Tail here, get the full farm down. We are full sending Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon actually does not get the one-shot. Honestly, that is quite disappointing to see. However, the opponent is going to go for a Trailblaze there, potentially not on Chilling Water, and as a result, we get the Volt Switch farm down, and we take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Now, if you want to take your support to the next level, you can become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments of every video. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has become become a channel member already. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.